Welcome back to AWE TV. My name is Mark Pizer. I'm here with Jay Iorio, Director of Innovation at IEEE Standards Association. Jay, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
You have one of the coolest titles, Director of Innovation. Give us an idea of what you do at IEEE and with standards.
Sure. I'm a part of the Standards Association, and we basically are in the business of consensus, technical consensus, across the whole spectrum of technology. And I think we're traditionally known as, for formal standards and the 802 standards for networking, for example. But especially with emerging technologies, which is really where I focus, things might not quite be ready for standardization yet, but there are great opportunities for collaboration across the industry and, in fact, across industries. And that's what I really try to encourage, is bringing together a lot of these separate disciplines and getting them to talk to each other and maybe find where they have common ground.
And it's best to have that mentality early on, right? Before we get too ahead and it's kind of too late and things become fragmented.
Yes, I think that's one of the benefits of my unofficial title is Futurist. They won't put it on the business card.
Jay Iorio, Futurist.
Futurist, that's right. I think that's a valuable role. I hope I'm doing it adequately. Where I look, a generation ahead and try to, predict where these various technologies will converge and how it'll all play out. I think when you're in the early stage of technology, like we are with a lot of these, people are focused on the silo. They have to be, because they have their own technical concerns, market concerns.
This problem to solve. We'd love to incorporate others, but we have this one is big enough. Let's just work on this.
Yeah, but there's often a piece missing where where an organization will look at the entire picture and say, the term augmented reality is probably going to be a quaint anachronism in 20 years.
Sure.
Possible. Virtual reality and so forth. I mean, once you put the glasses on, or whatever form that ends up taking in 20 years, in the morning when you wake up, that's how you go to work, that's how you socialize, it's how you shop, it's how you do everything. I doubt that people are going to refer to that as augmented reality or virtual reality.
It'll just become something we do every day.
It's just reality, yeah.
Watch was a technology. After a few years or so many, it was a thing that we put on every day and just took for granted. We take for granted now.
That's right, like these. This is augmented reality in a sense.
Right.
So it becomes the new reality, and then that has enormous social implications that really can't be ignored. And it also affects the arts community in ways that technical organizations typically don't consider. We have opportunities here for entirely new art forms. I mean, when was the last time we had one of those? 120 years ago with film or something.
Sure.
I mean, more minor things or things building off, but this is an entirely new canvas. And in fact, I was talking a couple of days ago, giving a talk, and I said it's really more than a canvas. It's almost an operating system for creating canvases.
Yeah. So you said, or there's something in there that artists are trying to be brought into the fold of this. Is that something that IEEE is known for?
No, it's not. That's something new that we're trying, and I'm working with some people at the University of Southern California Film School, School of Cinematic Arts, and actually a very interdisciplinary group at the university, including all across campus.
Yeah, for your information, I went to Carnegie Mellon University Entertainment Technology Center, where it was project oriented. You had artists, engineers, designers, producers, and they all worked together, moving forward to create one thing.
I think that's the way to go. That's how you end up with a durable platform.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of filmmakers now and game developers certainly who are trying to incorporate these concepts so that they can, it's not really cinema anymore. It's an entirely different. We don't even have a name for it. We call them experiences.
Right.
That's almost
general.
A general. Yeah. So it really is very exciting for anybody in the creative fields. Any storyteller, and I think that unlike previous technology advances, this is really an entirely new chapter, and it all depends on the content. And it's new types of content. So I think unless we involve the creators of that content very early on in the technical discussions, we might end up with something that doesn't quite fulfill its potential.
How do you take that approach to bring in the creatives? I mean, creatives is becoming a general term also because even engineers create, the designers are creating.
That's right.
Producers have to be creative also.
It's true.
How do you start having this conversation with them to let them know that this may be something to look at, something to consider?
Having conversations like this.
Okay.
At the USC Film School, for example, there are a lot of people who've worked in film traditionally who see the potential of this, and rarely, as I said, are we presented with an entirely new art form. So
sure.
It's fascinating to watch. Some of the people who are expert cinematographers are a little freaked out by it. It's because you have to sort of throw your expertise to the wind.
Right. And people want to hold on to what they know.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
And you're thinking, we're going to do it this way. Am I out of a job?
I was talking to somebody on the faculty there, and I said, it might take an entirely new generation that has grown up with immersion
sure.
to intuitively grasp the potential of it to really create these new forms.
Sure.
It'll take a generation probably.
So you mentioned silos earlier. AWE has kind of use cases or industries around 4 things. Generally, VR, AR, Internet of Things, wearables.
Yeah.
And with creating a standard, you want all of these to converge, or will they still be separate enough in having their own internal standards, or do you want all 4 of them to use one standard?
I think that's up to the people doing it.
Okay.
But if you get them together talking, they might discover that there are certain resources that that are common that they might not have thought of. 3D libraries, neutral repositories of information they all draw upon,
sure.
things like that if they stay within their own discipline, they might not have thought. Filmmakers have the same issues and so on. So fostering conversation, I think, is the first step.
Okay. So you're starting these conversations now. In the next 12 months, what do you think is in line for you to help get us closer to the standardization by next AWE?
There are a couple of projects that I'm working on in Los Angeles that are highly multidisciplinary. I'm not sure that any of it will be done. There will be a hackathon that we're planning at the medical school there that will involve people from all over the place, including the virtual reality people, some people from the Institute for Creative Technologies down there. And there are some larger projects. I'm very interested in taking a chunk of Los Angeles, for example, maybe a 4-block area, and mocking it up as Los Angeles 2050, and basically creating an open, an open laboratory for all the participants to be able to do experiments in a real world.
Yeah.
Have the public come through, get their impressions, fit them with some eyewear or something, a biometric device, and mock up what this. The fact that you and I could walk down the same street and see entirely different things because bring an Internet of Things, sensor networks and so forth, it knows your blood sugar, it knows what you just bought, it knows your heart rate, and so forth, it knows your tastes, and with a certain level of intelligence it starts to learn about you. It becomes almost a personal assistant. The city becomes sort of a personal assistant to you. So your Twitter feeds, Facebook, all of your social networking stuff sort of gets integrated with the built environment. At least that's the illusion. Sort of a generation of technology further than where we are right now. But it's sort of, you can see the horizon going in that direction.
Things are headed that way. Next 12 months, we better see that. Let's see it. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mark Pizer. With me is Jay Iorio, Director of Innovation and Futurist with IEEE. Thanks, Jay.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.